Let's get started. As you can see, I've got my front bodice interfaced at the placket opening, and I've also got my placket pieces, both interfaced, pressed down the center, and my outer edges have been folded wrong sides together 1/4 inch. I did finish those edges just to give myself a guide as to how much to fold those edges in. Now that our placket pieces are prepared, it's time to attach them to our bodice. There is no right side to start with when attaching your placket pieces. I do begin with my left side. You'll begin by matching the top raw edge of your placket to the raw edge of your neckline, making sure they are perfectly lined up at the placket opening on your bodice. Use pins or clips to hold it in place. My favorite way to do this is with the magic of Wonder Tape. This is double-sided hem tape that washes away. So when you're using it, it will hold anything in place and keep it there so that you can make sure it doesn't move while you're stitching it. It's so important to be sure that your fabric doesn't shift at all when doing something like a placket. This is just to avoid puckers or any sort of wrinkling in your placket. You'll notice I did run the tape down about 1/2 inch below my placket opening. And that's because that's how far down you'll want to stitch on your placket pieces. After you have secured your placket pieces using hem tape, pins, or clips, you'll take it to your machine and stitch beginning at the neckline and ending 1/2 inch below the placket opening. Go slow and try to be as accurate as possible. This is the most important part in preventing puckers. Alright, I have officially stitched the placket pieces onto my front bodice. You'll notice that I added some red marks where I needed my stitches to end. I can't say this enough. You need to be as accurate as possible with these stitches. This is how we prevent puckers on our plackets. Now we are ready to move on to the next step. If you have used hem tape, you'll want to unstick the seam allowance at the bottom of the placket. We will be cutting the corners, getting as close as possible to our stitches, but not clipping through them. I do like to flip my bodice when I'm doing this. It seems to make it easier. You'll end up with what looks like a small trapezoid after you've cut your corners. Before you move on to the next step, you'll want to check your placket to be sure it's going to lay exactly how you want it to. Flip your plackets so that you can see what they'll look like. You'll tuck the bottom portion of both plackets to the wrong side of your bodice. If you're happy with the way it looks, go ahead and press it. You're ready for the next step. If not, this is the time to pull out the seam ripper. Now that you're happy with your placket, let's go ahead and make it permanent. I like to use a bit of hem tape at the bottom to make sure that my placket stays exactly how I want it. You're going to lift the bottom of your bodice and flip it so that the bottom half is right sides together with the top half. The next step is to stitch across the trapezoid piece you cut, along with both plackets. So I'll add some hem tape here too so that it doesn't move. And it's ready to be stitched. Take it over to your machine. Don't forget to backstitch at the beginning and the end, and get as close as possible to the top of that trapezoid that you cut.